Hey guys, what is up? It's Victor and welcome back to my channel. So a lot of y'all have been asking about my fragrance collection. So in today's video, I'll give you guys what you want. I'm gonna be showing you my entire fragrance collection and walking you through when I got it, how much I got it for, and if it was really worth it or not. And at the end of the video, I'll be showing you guys the fragrances that are currently on my wish list. So if that sounds interesting to you, then without further ado, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get this video started. So in order to make this video organized, I'll be going through all of my designer fragrances first, then my niche fragrances. But before I do that, I think it's best if we explain what the difference is between designer fragrances and niche fragrances for people who don't really know what that means. To keep it simple, designer fragrances are fragrances that are sold by designer brands such as Prada, Gucci, Dior, and Saint Laurent. On the other hand, niche fragrances are fragrances that were created and sold by companies that exclusively works on perfumes, such as Nishane, Parfums de Marly, MFK, and SAUVAGE. Because designer brands are more accessible and mass marketed, they tend to be cheaper than niche fragrances. Now that we have gotten that out of the way, let's finally dive into my designer fragrance collection. So the first cologne that I've ever bought is DIOR SAUVAGE EDT. I'm pretty sure everybody knows or has seen this cologne before, either at the mall or from someone who uses it. This is probably one of the most popular colognes in the whole world. I bought this cologne during my sophomore year of high school, so that's about 2017, and I've used up almost 98% of it. This is a fresh smelling cologne, so you can probably wear it anytime and anywhere. This cologne goes for $110, but you can probably find it for way cheaper on sale. Now, is this cologne worth it? As of today, I personally don't wear this cologne out because I feel like everyone wears it already. I like wearing fragrances that not too many people have or wear. But if you want a fragrance that you can wear every day and anywhere that will get you compliments, then you should probably check this one out. The second fragrance in my collection is DIOR SAUVAGE EDP. So I know what you're thinking. 2 DIOR SAUVAGEs? Yes, but they are different. The EDP versions of fragrances contains higher oil concentration than the EDT versions. This basically means that the EDP version tends to last longer than the EDT versions. I bought this cologne when it first came out in 2018. This cologne has a fresh smell, but it's a little darker than the original one. You could also wear this cologne year round. I bought this bottle for $135, but again, you could probably find it for way cheaper. Now, is this cologne worth it? If you already have the original one, then I would not recommend you get this one. But if you don't have any of them, then I recommend you go for this one since it lasts a little longer than the original one. The third designer fragrance in my collection is AZZARO The Most Wanted. This fragrance has a warm and spicy accord, with cardamom as the top note and amberwood as the base note. It's a very sweet smelling fragrance, so I typically only wear this during the fall/winter seasons or if I'm going out at night. I actually got this bottle as a gift from AZZARO, so shout out to them. But this cologne typically runs for around $85. Now, is this cologne worth it? If you're someone who likes sweet fragrances and want to buy an inexpensive cologne that will get you compliments, then I would recommend this. This is the perfect fragrance to wear during the colder seasons, and for me, it lasts for about 6+ hours on my skin, so the performance is really good. Now, would I buy a bottle if this runs out? Honestly, probably not. It's not because the cologne isn't good, it's just that it smells very generic. The next fragrance in my collection is Dolce & Gabbana K EDT. It has a very aromatic smell with the top notes of juniper berries and blood oranges and dries down to cedar and patchouli. I usually wear this fragrance when I go to the gym or when it's extremely hot outside. This bottle goes for around $98 at Sephora, but you can probably find one for way cheaper. I got this bottle as a gift during Christmas, so I didn't really buy it. Now, is this cologne worth it? In my honest opinion, if I had to choose between this one or DIOR SAUVAGE, I'll probably always go for DIOR SAUVAGE. I mean, this cologne is nice, but to be quite honest, the smell is pretty boring. And before anyone jumps down to the comments and disagrees, let me just preface and say that I don't personally enjoy fresh fragrances. Later in the video when I go through all of my niche fragrances, you'll start to see that most of my fragrances are dark and sweet. I'm not really a fan of fresh smelling colognes, but that's just me. Would I recommend anyone to buy this? No. I'll probably just tell them to buy DIOR SAUVAGE or this next cologne in my collection, which is BLEU de Chanel EDP. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this cologne. It's up there with DIOR SAUVAGE. This is another freshie in my collection. It has the top notes of grapefruit and bergamot, then dries down to cedar and sandalwood. Although this is a blue and fresh fragrance, I can honestly say that you can probably wear this for any occasion, even formal events. This cologne is extremely versatile. I bought this cologne 2 years ago for $130. And I've used up almost half of it. The longevity is actually pretty solid. I'd say it lasts about 5 to 6 hours on my skin. Now, is this cologne worth it? If you want an everyday scent that's extremely versatile and will get you good reactions, then I would say yes. This is probably one of the best smelling fresh designer colognes out there in my opinion. The next designer fragrance in my collection is Coach for Men. This, like the majority of my other designer fragrances, is a freshie. It has a very prominent top note of pear and bergamot and dries down to an ambergris. The longevity on this cologne is actually pretty nice. It lasts for about 6 to 7 hours on my skin, which is quite rare for a fresh fragrance. I actually got this from my cousin since he doesn't use it anymore, so I was like, let me take those off your hands. This cologne goes for around $60 to $70 at Sephora. Now, is this cologne worth it? In my opinion, I would probably never buy this cologne since it smells very generic. Usually, designer fragrances are made to appeal to everyone, so most of them usually smell very similar or use very similar notes. The only time I would actually recommend someone to buy this is if they smelt it before and they actually really liked it. Then yeah, go ahead and buy it. But for people who already have a big collection, I'd probably say you should just save your money and buy something else. Now, the last designer fragrance in my collection is Maison Margiela Replica by the Fireplace. This is my newest bottle of cologne in my collection. I got this during the spring, so I really haven't been able to wear it yet. This fragrance basically encapsulates the feeling of sitting near a fireplace during Christmas and enjoying some hot chocolate while watching Christmas movies. I really like Maison Margiela's fragrance line because all of their fragrances basically just captures a feeling and puts it inside a bottle. This fragrance has a woody and vanilla accord with the top notes of clove and pink pepper, then dries down to a vanilla. This is the perfect fragrance to wear during the winter because this basically just smells like Christmas. This bottle goes for $78 at Sephora. I'd say this fragrance lasts for over 7 hours on my skin. Now, is it worth it? If you already have a good collection and you want to add another fragrance for the winter season, then 100% yes. This cologne is actually amazing. The only downside is that I feel like you can only wear this during the winter season. The smell is very sweet and dark, so if you wear this during a hot day, you might suffocate someone. And there you go, that's all of my designer fragrances. Now, let's move on to my niche fragrances. I personally like niche fragrances more than designer fragrances because I feel like they're more unique. Most designer fragrances tend to smell the same or are very simple. Niche fragrances, on the other hand, are more experimental and thought out. Now, for the first niche fragrance in my collection, the fragrance that got me into the niche world is Tom Ford Effing Fabulous. It has this aromatic and vanilla accord with clary sage and lavender as the top note and tonka bean as the base note. It has a light and clean smell, probably because of the lavender. I got this bottle last year during the winter season. I remember going to Neiman Marcus and smelling this for the first time thinking, this is the best smelling cologne that I've ever smelled in my life. This is the perfect signature scent if you want that one fragrance that you can wear every single day. The longevity is alright. It lasts for maybe 5 to 6 hours on your skin. This bottle goes for $390 at Sephora. Now, is this fragrance worth it? I would say that it is, if it was cheaper. I feel like the smell is nice, but I don't think it's worth $390. I feel like there are better alternatives out there that are way cheaper than this. The next fragrance in my collection is another Tom Ford fragrance. It's Tom Ford Oud Wood. This is probably one of the most popular fragrances from Tom Ford. As you can tell by the name, it has a woody accord with oud as one of the notes. It has a very airy but earthy smell that I can't really explain. It is a really nice everyday scent that you can honestly wear year round. I got this bottle this year in early January at Costco for about $200, but the original retail price is $285 for this bottle. I usually wear this when it's humid outside because the smell really cuts through the air. The longevity is also pretty nice. It lasts for about 7 to 8 hours on my skin. Now, is it worth it? I'd say yes, because it's a really nice smelling scent that you can wear year round. It's extremely versatile and it will get you a lot of compliments. This next fragrance in my collection is my everyday fragrance. This is basically my signature scent. It's MFK Baccarat Rouge 540 XEXTRAIT. This is my favorite cologne out of my entire collection. It has an amber and almond accord with saffron and bitter almonds as the top notes and ambergris as the base note. It's a very sweet smelling fragrance, but it also has this depth, which I like. I bought this bottle earlier this year and I've already used almost half of it. The longevity is actually insane with this. It lasts for over 12 hours on my skin. Even though it's a very sweet and dark fragrance, I still wear this year round. I bought this at Neiman Marcus for $435. Now, is it worth $435? Well, in my opinion, 100% yes. So many people have came up to me and asked me what I was wearing. Like, this is the holy grail in my collection. And I know it's pretty expensive, but if you do have the budget for it, then I would 100% recommend you buy this. The next fragrance in my collection is MFK Gentle Fluidity Silver. I bought this bottle a month after I bought the Baccarat bottle. It has an aromatic accord with juniper berries and musk as the notes. This is a fresh smelling fragrance. The best way to explain the smell is, think of a gin and tonic. It has this sharp, fresh smell that really pierces through the air. I like to wear this when it's humid or extremely hot outside because it's very refreshing. The performance on this is actually pretty insane for a fresh fragrance. It lasts over 8 to 9 hours on my skin and projects like a monster. Based on my experience, most MFK fragrances tend to last super long. This bottle goes for $235 at Neiman Marcus. Now, is it worth it? For me personally, no. Because I don't really gravitate towards this one. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice smelling fragrance, but I just don't really enjoy it as much as I used to. Now, if you're looking for a clean fragrance that will last you for hours and have crazy projection, then you should probably check this one out. The next fragrance in my collection is Musk RAVAGEUR by FREDERIC MALLE. Now, this one is probably my most experimental fragrance. I say that because some people really love this and some people really hate it. It has a warm and spicy accord with lavender and cloves as the top notes and vanilla and musk as the base notes. This cologne is very spicy, as in it smells like a ton of different spices. Some people say that it has an animalic smell to it. For the longevity, this fragrance lasts for an extremely long time. Over 12 hours for sure, and the projection is also really good. I got this bottle this year during the end of spring. In my opinion, this fragrance leans more towards the fall/winter seasons because of how dark and deep the smell is. This small bottle goes for $220 at Neiman Marcus. Now, is it worth it? Since I got it during the spring, I really haven't been able to use it as much, but as the winter season comes, I'm gonna start wearing it more often. As of now, I'd probably say you should probably go to your local mall and smell it first before you pull the trigger and buy it. This cologne is not for everyone. The next cologne in my collection is XERJOFF Ivory Root. This is probably the coolest looking bottle in my collection. It has a warm and spicy accord with sandalwood and spices as its notes. It is a pretty warm and spicy scent, but I feel like you can wear this during the spring, fall, and winter seasons. The longevity is really good. It lasts for about 7 to 8 hours on my skin. The projection is also pretty good as well. After like 5 hours, I can still get whiffs of it. Now, is it worth it? Yes. This is actually a really nice smelling fragrance. It is a very versatile fragrance that you can wear the majority of the year. That will get you a lot of compliments. Now, for the next and final fragrance in my collection is Ani by Nashane. This fragrance is probably one of my best smelling fragrances in my collection. It has a warm and spicy accord with ginger and bergamot as the top notes and vanilla and benzoin as the base notes. It has a very sweet vanilla smell with some earthy tones to it that gives it depth. The longevity on this is actually really good as well. It lasts for about 7 to 8 hours on my skin. And the projection is also pretty good as well. Even though it's a warm vanilla smell, you could honestly wear this during the fall, winter, and spring season. I bought this during the spring for $235. Now, is it worth it? Yes, this cologne is a must-have for anyone who loves a sweet vanilla scent that you can wear during both the colder months and the warmer months. Now that we have talked about all of my fragrances in my collection, let's finally talk about the fragrances that are on my wish list. I have 3 fragrances that are currently on my radar. The first one is Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This fragrance has been on my wish list for quite some time now. It has a leather accord with the top notes of cardamom and the base notes of leather and amber. The easiest way to explain what this smells like is to imagine smelling a leather jacket. It basically smells like that, but in a good way. This fragrance goes for $180. I'm probably either gonna buy it during the winter season or hopefully someone buys it for me during Christmas, but who knows. Anyways, the next fragrance on my wish list is Parfums de Marly HALTANE. I remember going to Neiman Marcus and smelling this for the first time and I was like, wow, this smells insanely nice. It is a very woody fragrance with lavender and clary sage as the top notes and cedar and oud as the base notes. To me, it's basically like Tom Ford Oud Wood, but with more flavor. Like for this one, I feel like you have to smell it to actually understand how nice it smells. This bottle goes for a whopping $395 at Neiman Marcus. The price point is the reason why I haven't bought it yet, but if I ever feel like splurging on something, then this one's on top of my wish list. Now, the next and final fragrance on my wish list is the Labo DIOR 29. This fragrance smells completely different than all my other fragrances that I have in my collection. It has a woody and fresh accord with fig and bay leaf as the top notes and tobacco as the base note. It's basically a fig fragrance that leans towards the spicy side. It's dry and earthy, but has this creamy feeling to it. This bottle goes for $310, which is pretty expensive. So like the previous one, I'm probably just gonna wait for a special occasion to buy this. And there you have it, my entire fragrance collection. If you enjoyed this video, please go down there and smash that like button to show some support. Comment down below what your favorite fragrance is, and if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, keep dressing nice, and I'll see you next time. Peace.